All right, I found this comment on Reddit yesterday, and I think it perfectly captures what every brand and marketer goes through when they're trying to evaluate influencers for their brand. So this person said, I'm the only marketer at a startup, and I'm frustrated finding influencers manually. I'm searching keywords, YouTube and TikTok for hours. Agencies want 10 to 30% of the deal size. There must be a better way than this. And you know what? There absolutely is. So whether you're a solo marketer at a startup or you're part of a larger team, I guarantee you've been there. You're either spending your entire week manually hunting for influencers with zero confidence that they'll actually work, or you're paying agencies a fortune to do something you should be able to handle in-house. At Audience, we've watched thousands of marketing teams struggle with this exact problem. They're wasting time, they're wasting budget, and they're missing out on the influencers who could actually move the needle for their brand. So today, I'm going to show you both ways, the painful manual way that everyone's doing, and then the way that actually works. And by the end of this video, you'll never have to guess about influencer selection again. All right, let me show you exactly what that Reddit commenter was talking about. So let's say you work for the clothing brand All Saints, and we're launching a new leather jacket collection. And I need to find influencers who can actually influence our target audience to buy our new collection. And first, we're gonna look at TikTok influencers. So here I am, I'm gonna open up TikTok, and I'm gonna type in, since this is gonna be a leather jacket campaign for our new collection, I'm just gonna type in leather jacket. And I like to use the autofill feature here. It's gonna show you keywords that are most relevant or most popular. So I'm gonna look at the autofill here and I'm gonna say, okay, leather jacket outfits for men. And I'm gonna click that. And the process begins, right? It's overwhelming at first. You're not working with a lot of information. You don't know anyone's true demographics, what their audience looks like, what their engagement numbers really are. So at the beginning, you're just going based off vibes. Does this person, does this influencer look like my brand, talk like my brand, feel like my brand, right? You want to pick people that are going to look like your typical target audience so they can relate to them better. So you're going to start looking through the process and you're going to look down, and you know what, off the bat, there are a lot of posts here that make sense, right? There's going to be a lot of posts that make sense here, a lot of influencers that look the part. I'm just going to click on this one from Adriano, so styling a leather jacket outfit. Off the bat, it looks good, right? He looks like the type of demographic that would fit All Saints. Then you move over here and you start to look at the engagement numbers. 6,000 likes, pretty good. 77 comments, not a ton, but we'll see the quality of them in a second. 2,500 saves. That's a really good indicator of influence, right? People want to come back to this post. Maybe they like the jacket, they like the fit, they want to buy the same thing. The shares are pretty high as well. Again, another good indicator of influence. They're sending it to their friends, their family. They like this. So let's hop in the comments and let's see if the comments are actually good or not. And we have things like, where's this jacket? Where's the jacket from? Where's the jacket from? This is hard. So yeah, this is all good, right? These are not just fire emojis or hard eyes or anything like that. Like, people actually want to know where the jacket's from, probably because they had the intention to buy. So this is good. Off the bat, you might think, okay, this might be someone we want to work with. You go to their followers. They have a smaller amount of followers, considered a micro influencer. Again, not a bad thing. I think typically if you work with micro influencers with their communities, you're going to get a lot more engagement and influence. And some of these bigger creators that have millions of followers, and there's been tons of horror stories about working with people like that, and you don't get anything back from it. So yeah, off the bat, Adriano might be a good fit, but you're still left with a lot of questions, right? So like, are his followers actually influenced in premium fashion? I don't know. Are they the right age group? Do they even have disposable income, right? For all we know, they could be 16-year-olds who can't afford a new $600 jacket, right? So we're playing a very expensive guessing game here. All right, so now you're moving over to Instagram and you're gonna go through the same process, right? You're gonna go to the search bar. Again, let's type in leather jacket. I like to use the autofill feature again. So again, leather jackets for men, and you begin the process again. Now you're looking for influencers on Instagram. And again, you don't have a lot of data. Like, do these influencers have overlap with All Saints? Like, is the audience the right audience for us? And again, you're just looking through to see look and feel. Like, do they look and feel like the brand? So you start looking through. Again, it's going to be overwhelming. This process takes a long time, but okay, like, let's click on this one here from Bilvaldo, if I said that right. But again, it's a get ready with me. They're styling a leather jacket. Cool. It got a lot of views, 92,000 views. That's good. Only 41 comments. You can't see the amount of likes. You can't see the amount of shares, right? There's key information missing here to show real influence. But maybe we go into the comments section and we look to see if there's actual influence there. Like, are people saying, where's the jacket from? Where's the pants from? Where's the fit from? Like, does he have that kind of influence to sell something, right? You got nice jacket, classic combo, love the John Travolta looks. There's not a lot of people asking where to find this stuff. It just seems like they like this influencer, which might not be a bad thing. Again, we don't know the full picture here. They have 60,000 followers, so, you know, they're getting a little bigger here. They're from Barcelona, they're in San Francisco. Like, this could be a good option for us. I don't really know. They got good followers. Seems like they have decent engagement. We don't know for sure. But, you know, are they real people? Are they bots? Are they interested in fashion, or do they just like the look of this influencer, right? We end up making these big money decisions just purely based off vibes. And that's usually where influencer campaigns go wrong, right? You don't have all the data. And even if you make your list, you know, this takes a long time to do. You have to go through manually, put names into a spreadsheet, and then you have to go through the process of reaching out to each influencer. And if, you know, you want that information, you want to know who really is your demographics, like what age groups follow you, what does your engagement numbers really look like? You might go through that process and you might have an idea of someone you want to work with. You're really excited about it, but then you get those numbers back and it doesn't really align. Now you're wasting even more time. You're kind of having to go through this cycle of having to search based on vibes, based on feel, then you go through your due diligence and maybe it doesn't work out, right? So it's just a very messy process. You could go through this whole process, think you found someone, and then it just doesn't work out for you. So it's just a lot of time wasted. You probably don't have that much time. There might be a lot riding on this decision to work with certain influencers. And it's just a very inefficient process and it doesn't leave you with a lot of confidence. But like I said, there is a better way. And I'm going to show you a tool now that really changes everything. It's going to make your life 100 times easier, gives you all the data that you need to make confident decisions. And it's really going to save you a ton of time in this whole process of identifying influencers for your brand. All right, so what if I told you that you could find influencers with actual audience overlap data, see the real engagement patterns, and understand exactly what they talk about all in one place in under 10 minutes. This is Audience's influencer identification tool. So instead of guessing, you get real data. Instead of manual searching across platforms, everything's in one place. So let me show you how it works. All right, so there's two options here at the top. You have this audience data tab, and then you have the influencer identification tab. So I'll get to both of them, but let's go back to that influencer we found before, Adriano on TikTok. This is going to be the place where you can really break down Adriano as a potential fit as an influencer. We've already looked at his content. We look at his vibe. We look at the things he talks about, and it all aligns, right? He looks and feels like our target demographic, but it's the data behind the scenes that's going to help us make a confident decision. And that's what we're missing when we're doing the manual search. And usually you'll have to reach out to these influencers to get this information. And like I said, you might be really excited to work with this person, and then you get back their demographics, their audience following, their engagement, and you get disappointed. And you kind of go through this cycle of having to continue to do that, which takes a lot of time. And then if they don't work out, you have to find someone else. So what's really cool about this, let's say we want to check him out, and his handle was Outfits by Adriano. Cool. You pick View Influencer, and it's going to give you a full breakdown on Adriano with all the data that you need, right? So you're going to see his followers, you're going to see his location, his average views for his last 30 posts, which is at 167,000, really good sign. His average comments, average likes, all that. And you're seeing all these numbers are going up over his last 30 posts, which shows that he's growing as an account. So in terms of his influence, it's going up. It probably means that he's investing in his content consistently. These are all good things. The big thing here is that now you see that he has a 54% engagement rate, which is, it's massive, right? For any account, 54% is quite big, which indicates that he has a very loyal and engaged audience that wants to see what he has to say. They want to see the fits that he's putting together. So that's good, right? These are all really, really good things to see. Then when you go down to the topic sensor, this is just going to be a list of keywords that summarizes what he talks about. So it's all men's fashion wear, men's fashion tips. This is good. These aren't just one-off posts where he's showing a leather jacket fit. This is what he does, right? And this is what we want as All Saints. This is what we want as the brand. We want someone that lives like our audience, speaks like our audience, has the same interests as our audience. And you can see from this topic sensor that that's the case. One really cool feature about this is this lookalikes. So what happens here is that it's going to put together a list of accounts that are similar to Adriano, talk about similar topics, have similar sort of ideas going on, and it helps to make the process of finding influencers so much easier, like 100 times faster, a lot easier. Otherwise, you'd have to go through manually and try to find people that overlap and kind of fit the same. This way you get some cohesion, right? So you can look, you can click view more, and you're going to get a list of accounts that are very similar to him, right? And that's a good thing. And you get to see their engagements and their followers. And just like this process we just did with Adriano, you can take their handles, you can analyze them, and you can see. So we might be looking down at this and saying, you know, okay, like, could this be good, right? This Adam person, they have 344,000 followers, a bit bigger, obviously, than Adriano, but maybe we want some bigger influencers in the space. And from the outside looking in, that might be good. You can click on his name. It's going to take you straight to TikTok. So you can check out the account, and looking at it, you know, maybe he'd be a good fit. Like, this seems more elevated high fashion, kind of more simplistic than streetwear that we're going for. Maybe it's not a good fit, but let's pretend we're looking at this and saying, okay, like, maybe Adam could be good for us, right? So you can go ahead, you can copy his handle, you type it in the search bar, found him, view influencer. And again, you're going to make a data-informed decision. And when you look at this, I mean, what do you see right away, right? Huge amount of followers, but everything is very low in comparison to his overall follower count. And the engagement rate is tiny at 0.3%. So from the outside looking in, he might have seemed like a good fit, but looking at this, you're going to say, you know what? No, like, his numbers are too low. It's kind of weird. He's got so many followers, and this is what his engagement looks like. Are we dealing with things like bots? Are these even real people? Are these people maybe that just like the way he looks and they're not actually influenced by his fashion decisions, right? Now you can make confident decisions, and instead of going through that process of reaching out to him and finding this, thinking he was maybe good, and then you see all this information and you're kind of back to square one, you can see it here and just, you know, you can exit him out right away. Like, he's not going to be a good fit for us. And even if we go looking down, like, sure, his age and gender split looks good. Like, he has a mostly male audience. You know, the 18 to 24 males are his highest demographic, followed by 25 to 34. That fits for us as All Saints. We like that. But his audience, you know, his biggest audience is in places maybe where we don't sell the best. Plus now we've seen that his engagement is low. Like, we can cancel this out right away. So this becomes a really good tool just for validating ideas, right? If you went through the manual process, you found some people, you plug it into here, you can start to look and get the confidence whether or not you should even reach out to them in the first place. So for someone like Adriano, we should. For someone like Adam, we shouldn't. And it makes the process 10 times easier for you, and you can have a lot more confidence in your decisions. And the same thing with Instagram. So with Instagram, I mean, you can use any of them, right? If you want to look for influencers on YouTube or TikTok, like, all the tabs are there. But let's say we wanted to look for someone on Instagram. I did a search previous to this for this person named Arthur Tipara. Everything looked good on the outside, right? If you click this and you go look at his Instagram, like, this could be someone we'd want to work with. He's got a good amount of followers. The vibe of his page is good. He looks like someone that fits our target demographic, that kind of edgy streetwear look that we're going for. And then we want to check him out, right? So he's got 144,000 followers, a little bigger, obviously, than Adriano, maybe someone we want to work with. His paid post performance is 8.93%. You know, that could be good if you worked in, obviously, with influencers and you're doing paid performance posts. You want to see that they do well, right? So 8%, I would say that's pretty good. His overall engagement rate is pretty low at 1.36%, so that might not be someone you want to work with. But again, it's going to give you all this breakdown. And what's cool about the Instagram section is that you can have these breakdowns, right? So you have influencer brand affinity. You can see which brands are going to be associated with this influencer. Like, if we pop in here, do we see anything that kind of matches us? Is there something similar to the brand that we're doing at All Saints that could be good here? I'm not really seeing it. Like, you could look at maybe Zara being a potential fit. You could look at Doc Martens being a potential fit. right? So you can get all this information as well. You can look at the influencer interests, so shopping and retail is way up there, clothes, shoes, handbags, like these are all really good things. You have his full contact information. You have a deep breakdown, again, of his audience here. So how many influencers are following him, real people, mass followers, suspicious accounts, right? That could be bot followers, all that sort of stuff. You have the gender breakdown and the gender split. In this case, he's mostly female. So right there again, right? You might think to yourself, okay, the majority of his audience is female. We're trying to sell leather jackets for men. This isn't going to be a good fit, despite what the page looked like. Might not be a good fit for us. So this tool in general is really good. This audience data tool, it gives you all the confidence you need to really figure out if someone is worth pursuing as an influencer, if they're going to be a good fit for the brand, if you think they're going to actually give you a return on your investment. All of this here is going to give you that information, and it just makes the process a lot more enjoyable, a lot easier. Okay, and then we also have the influencer identification tool. So similar to that process that we did manually on Instagram and TikTok, looking for keywords, you can do it right here for your search, and it's going to be better because everything's going to be in one place. You're not going through a bunch of individual posts. And then you can also do the same process with the audience data that we just did, where you can analyze an influencer. So, you know, we search for street, or let's do men's fashion. Again, click on that. And then similar to what you saw before, we have this topic sensor. So the most relevant keywords for this sort of search. So you have a few keywords that you can work with if you want to. And you're going to get right away, we have 78,000 influencers found for TikTok around men's fashion. And you can start to use these filters as well to filter it down. So let's say that you wanted to only look for influencers in the United States. You could do that. And let's say you also only want male influencers. Do that as well. And you can keep doing that, right? You can keep going through these lists and these filters to start really dialing in who you want to look at. But right away, it's going to give you a list, and it gives you the overview of followers, engagement, views, and those of them that are in the United States. And you have a whole list here. So immediately, it's a lot faster process than looking through and trying to vet, and you're left with information that you don't have. So you're kind of guessing, and you got to do that outreach again. So, you know, let's say, who do we want to pick? Let's pick someone a little smaller. That's the other thing too. If you want to pick micro influencers like we talked about before, which could be really good, you can set that here. So let's say we only want people that have from 5K up to 100K. And it's going to give us a list of those. So now we're down to 4,700 influencers, and that immediately makes things less overwhelming. Still a big number, but it's less overwhelming than what we did before manually, where you're just having to go through and kind of evaluate by yourself with minimal information. This is going to really start to condense it and make it easier to find. So, you know, you could look at it and say, okay, this person's got, 28,000 followers, could be good. I want to go look at their TikTok, check it out. Is it going to work? Is this someone we could use like off the bat? Probably not. And you kind of go through that process there until you might find someone who might be a good fit for you. But let's say that this one here would be a good fit. Denim boy. Yeah, okay. Like he's got that like street fashion look. This could really work. Yep. Cool. And then it's the same thing. You click on analyze, and it's going to bring you back to that audience data sheet that we had before. So you can start to look and evaluate. Like, okay, 44,000 followers, engagement rate's 4.55%. That's about midway through. That's pretty good, right? Like Adriano's was crazy engagement. Like those are dream scenarios, but for the most part, a 4.55% engagement is good. We're seeing everything else too, right? Everything's going up. His account's growing. It looks like his influence is growing. He talks only about menswear, men's style. Again, it aligns very similar to what Adriano did. And again, to really scale this process and turn one good influencer into 20 really quickly, you have this lookalike. So you can check it out. All these people are going to be very similar, and you can go through the same process of evaluating and finding influencers just like this one, and it's a much quicker process. Again, we look down here and we say, okay, the majority of his audience, he's got a pretty healthy split of male female. That's okay, as long as it's not skewing too far towards female, because we're selling leather jackets. But again, you have to look at it too, like maybe females will be buying these for their partners, right? So it could be good. And he fits the demographic age range that we're looking for as well. And this could be really good. So it just makes it much easier to search for influencers this way. You can identify them really, really quickly. You can find new ones with the lookalike audience really quickly. And from one click of a button, you can get all the information you need to give you, to help you have a confident decision to say, yes, this is someone that we should at least reach out to and work with and meet, because everything else looks good. Their content looks good. This looks like someone that we'd like to work with. And it removes a ton of guesswork. It's going to make your lives much, much easier. And it gives you everything you need in one platform. So when you're thinking about time savings and all that sort of stuff, this is going to give you everything you need. Really, really good to have. Now, whether you use a tool like the one I just showed you, or you're still doing this manually, here's what actually matters when choosing influencers. And it's not what most people think. Your ideal influencers should look, talk, and live like your ideal customers. Not like a model in a magazine, like your actual buyers. If your customers are working professionals who value quality, find creators who embody that lifestyle. Stop chasing celebrities. Nano influencers, 1K to 10K followers, and micro influencers usually have way better engagement and much more affordable rates. Their audiences actually listen to them, like we see. And this part's huge. Read their comments. Are people asking, where did you get that? Are they tagging friends? Are they saving the post? Are they having real conversations? That's actual selling power that you want to look at for the influencer that you work with. High follower counts mean nothing if the audience isn't engaged. So look for creators who regularly post about your industry, not just someone who wore your type of product one time. You want someone whose audience expects to see content like yours. And before you even start looking, know what you want. Is it going to be brand awareness? Is it direct sales? Different goals are going to need different types of creators. Now, here's some red flags that you absolutely want to avoid when you're choosing influencers. Generic engagement, so just emojis and no real comments. Follower counts that don't match engagement rates. Creators who post about everything with no clear niche. And audiences that don't actually match your target demographic. Look, you have two paths here. You can keep doing what the Reddit commenter was doing, manually searching, guessing, hoping for the best, and paying agencies 30% of your budget, or you can make informed decisions with real data. With audience, you're not just finding influencers faster, you're going to be finding the right influencers with confidence, and that's super key. Real-time data, audience overlap, engagement quality, topic relevance, everything you're going to need to make a smart decision in one place. And whether you're a solo marketer or you're part of a bigger team, you can handle influencer discovery in-house with the same level of intelligence that agencies charge thousands of dollars for. If you want to try out this tool, I'll leave a link below to chat with our team. I'll also drop a link to a written breakdown that shows how the tool works in detail. My advice to you is stop hoping your influencer campaigns will work and start knowing they're going to work because you use data-backed decisions. And to that Reddit commenter, yeah, there definitely is a better way. I'll see you in the next video.